What's going on, everyone? So let's talk about LeBron James for a little bit, right? So LeBron James, right? He could technically opt out and leave in free agency. It's not going to happen, right? Never say never because you never really know, but he's sticking around, right? More likely than not, it looks like he's probably going to sign a 3-year, $164 million max. Now, starting with the contract, right? Because there's a couple of talking points that I want to go over with LeBron James. We'll touch on them here in a moment. But starting with the contract, right? A lot of people are like, man, LeBron James should take a discount. If you want to win, take a discount, right? Like, why take a discount? It's irrelevant, right? LeBron could play for the vet minimum, and the Lakers still wouldn't have money to go and get another max star or go get several guys. The Lakers are over the cap regardless. Whether the Lakers go and trade for a third star or they trade for 2 or 3 complementary pieces, whatever they decide to do this offseason, LeBron's contract doesn't matter. I mean, obviously it affects the aprons and the cap space and the tax, but that's for the organization to figure out. And they're going to be in that regardless, right? So if you're the Lakers, you're not worried about whether LeBron takes a max or not, right? LeBron could literally cut his salary in half, right? And take 25, 30 million a year. And it's not like all of a sudden we have like all this salary cap to go and sign 2, 3, 4, 5 guys, right? So him taking a discount, again, it's irrelevant. If he wants to play for vet minimum, sure. But realistically, he's not. Now, as far as his skill set and where he is, right, he's still an incredible talent. Right? I mean, he still played at a top 10 level this year. But he's even talked about it himself. He doesn't have it anymore, game in and game out, night in and night out, for 35 minutes a game. He just can't. He can't put it together. I mean, he was even on Mind the Game with J.J. Redick and was talking about it, how he has to be strategic. He has to pick and choose his spots. He can't just go and really push hard game in and game out, night in and night out. And you saw him at times just get incredibly gassed and winded and just look tired, even in the playoffs with the Denver Nuggets, right? But we're so LeBron reliant still. It's one of the reasons why I'm not against going and getting that third star and kind of making LeBron the third guy. LeBron's never going to be the third guy, but if you got, say, a Donovan Mitchell, who is my ideal scenario, but even like a Trae Young, I know a lot of people are like, stay away from Trae Young. Look, I have my concerns. I have my questions about Trae, but if the Lakers can land him, they're going to land him. What Trae would do is take a ton of pressure off of LeBron James during the regular season, especially, but also in the playoffs. Right? You saw LeBron, even in the postseason, really trying to get other guys going. Guys just weren't stepping up, and then he's got to kind of try to overexert himself rather than saving and pacing himself throughout the course of the game and then kind of injecting himself in spots, right? When he gets that, like, okay, here's my adrenaline, let's go, give me the ball, right? Where if you got a Trae, if you got a Donovan Mitchell, if you got somebody like that, right, like, them and Anthony Davis alone are enough to, like, again, sticking with Trae, right? Trae Young and Anthony Davis by themselves is enough, or should be enough, depending on obviously the pieces, but should be enough to make you a very good basketball team. You add in LeBron James, that's the idea is that takes you over the hump now, and now you're a true contender and potentially win an NBA championship, right? And so those two can kind of carry the workload. LeBron just kind of out there. You know, he's still doing LeBron things. Of course, he's still going to go get his 25, 7, and 7 or whatever. But now he doesn't have to be so relied on game in and game out and be overly explosive. And we need him to go and drop 20 in the fourth quarter and all those little things, right? Now he can, okay, Trae's out of the game. Give me the ball. I'll handle business here. Let me take over. Okay, let me go get this quick 10 points. Okay, now I get some rest, right? Got me 10. Okay, this quarter I'm going to go get me 5. Now I got 15. Go get another 5 and then another 5. Boom, there's my 25, right? Like, that's kind of where, and I expect LeBron, and why LeBron, based on reports, is pushing so hard for a third star. Because he knows and is aware and understands where he is in his career. And again, I understand some people are going to look at that as, well, then he shouldn't get a max. He's still a max player. He's still, again, a top 10 level talent, right? When he's on, he's on. And if we can conserve him and have him be healthy getting into the playoffs with those other 2 stars, then you can ride off into the sunset, right? So you need that. LeBron, however, he needs to start being willing to kind of adapt and play more off ball. LeBron has spoken heavily that he wants to play off ball more. He doesn't want as many responsibilities. He doesn't necessarily want to be the point guard. I know there's a famous clip, right, of LeBron going, I can play point guard, right? But he doesn't mean game in and game out, night and night. That was when Darvin Ham's trying to figure out, lineups and rotations and playmaking and stuff. And LeBron's like, look, if I need to in spots, essentially, right? If you need, you don't have somebody that can make plays right now, put the ball in my hands and run a unit out here that has me at the point guard, right? His adaptability is what is great, right? But again, he needs to be more willing to kind of do what he says. And it's one of the reasons why they went and got Russell Westbrook. It's why they got Dennis Schroeder in the first stint and this recent stint. It's why they went and got D'Angelo Russell. They keep trying to get playmakers so LeBron doesn't have to be the playmaker, and he can, again, just pick and choose. It doesn't mean he's never going to make plays. It doesn't mean he's never going to get assists, but he doesn't have to handle the workload of heavily being on ball and heavily, basically dissecting and controlling the game. Where if you got, say, a Trae Young, would LeBron be more willing to deflect and say, okay, yes, you run the show, right? Because it's one thing if you have, Dennis Schroeder. It's another thing to have, even D'Angelo Russell to an extent. Russell Westbrook, he had all intentions, but it didn't fit, didn't make sense, right? So maybe with the Trae, where he's like, okay, this is one of the league leaders in assists, one of the best playmakers in the league, right? He's young, he's 25, he can kind of handle the show and handle business, right? I'll have my moments and I kind of take over. But he has to be willing to make that adjustment. Like I said, be the third guy. Still great, still talented. He's still going to do the things that he can do. But now, if you get that third star, he doesn't have to be, GOAT James over and over and over again. Because again, he's going to be 40 in year 22. That is very challenging. That is going to be very taxing. It's going to be very tiring over the course of a season. And so obviously he's going to want to play at least 65 games because he wants to get the accolades and the all defense and all that stuff, right? Well, you need to have, that other guy that can kind of help handle the workload so he can kind of pace himself over the course of the season, hopefully be healthy. And then, in a Denver game, he's not gassed, he's not tired because Trae Young and Anthony Davis have basically handled all the workload. It's a tie game with 5 minutes left. He's just, all right, let's go. Superhero mode, right? This is what I've been saving all game for, right? It changes things, it changes perspectives. Now, as far as free agency is away from the star factor, right? There is the question of, can LeBron James and Anthony Davis together, are they still enough to go get you a championship, right? That's a real question, right? Now, the idea and the formula is that, hey, you saw LeBron James and Anthony Davis, right, with quality role players, can get you to the conference finals, can get you to the NBA championship, right? But you saw this year LeBron just is that going to continue to be a thing? And is that only going to get worse as we progress to where if you do get a couple quality role guys, is that going to be enough to where, yes, LeBron and Anthony Davis can carry you, right? LeBron and Anthony Davis, they can basically get you to the promised land. It is a question. I'm not saying that they can't, but based on what we saw with just LeBron getting gassed, it is something worth of note of hey, this may end up being a point of concern. And as we progress throughout the course of the years, right? If he signs that 3-year deal, okay, maybe it's not a huge issue this year, right? Even if you win the championship, but what about the next year and the next year, right? How much are we going to be able to kind of put on LeBron's shoulders to kind of carry the workload when we need him to, right? How much longer can we trust LeBron to play 35 minutes and be superhero at the end of games, right? I am of the mindset that I think the Lakers are close, right? I think if you get a quality center, you get, a couple key two-way players, Lakers could be right there. Right, and they could easily win an NBA championship, right? But there is those questions of how should, and that's what makes it so difficult with LeBron. And again, I'm not saying LeBron's the problem. I'm not saying you trade LeBron. I'm not saying anything in that regard. But I'm saying these are real points. These are real things we saw. And I know every time I talk about LeBron in any type of negative light, even when I praise him, I'm on record saying I believe he's the greatest player to ever play the game. I defend LeBron like he's my kid or something. Like, I'm always sticking up for LeBron. But we can't be blind and ignore the reality, right? And the reality is he's not the same player. He's still an incredible player. Like I said, top 10 player, but he's not the same player. Now, he's only getting older, right? At what point does he start having that decline in wear and tear? Right? Like, so there's a lot to dissect with LeBron. And is it just enough to where, okay, LeBron and Anthony Davis plus 5 quality rotation guys are enough to get you past Denver, to get you past, OKC if they make a move, or, Minnesota if they make a move? Like, you have look at the playoffs right now. The oldest player in the playoffs, right now is Kyrie Irving. Like, think about that. Kyrie isn't even, they consider that old by NBA standards. This is a young man's league. And LeBron is spectacular. We need to kind of get younger. We need to get more athletic, especially out on the perimeter. We need to build around Anthony Davis and have LeBron be that third piece or that option. And again, I don't mean that necessarily it has to be another star, but I'm saying build the team around LeBron. Luckily, LeBron and Anthony Davis are very similar to where they're both, inside out guys, post guys, right? Can make plays out of the inside, right? And a lot of the pieces that you want around Anthony Davis, you also want around LeBron James, 3-and-D shooters, playmakers, things like that, right? So you build your roster for Anthony Davis, and then you have LeBron as hopefully the piece that kind of takes you over, right? That being another star, that being, role players. I don't even think you need to go necessarily get like DeJounte Murray and Lauri Markkanen, something like that, right? Where they're not like superstars. Those aren't two superstars. Those aren't two ridiculous. No, they're very talented, very good players that are all-star level players that those two plus Anthony Davis could make for a very good team. And now you have LeBron to kind of take you over the top. That's the idea. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with my points on LeBron? Do you disagree with my points on LeBron? Do you have concerns about LeBron? Do you not? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.